Yes.
Okay, so right now I would like to call up our guests.
Okay.
Like I said, two distinguished gentlemen from the Hoboken Film Festival.
Yes.
One of them won an award,
Yes.
and we want to hear all about that
Oh, yes.
and how special that was.
Yes.
That would be Charles Marinaro. If you'd like to come on over, how are you?
Hello.
Oh, it is so good to see
Yeah,
you.
nice.
Good to
And-
see you.
Hello.
And we also have Sean. I'm sorry, your name. The last name is like just
Murray.
Murray. Yeah, how can I forget that, right? Sean Murray, would you come on over and have a seat with us? It's so nice to see you. I mean,
Be here.
it was great to see you guys at Hoboken.
Yes.
As usual, every year we get to see each other. It's like a big homecoming, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's so much fun. We get to see all of our friends that, we met the year before.
Right.
And friends that we met the year before that and the year before that and the year before
Yeah,
that.
right.
So, we have a really great time. So I just wanted to let you know, let's see, I actually have notes here so that I
Yes,
can
we
make
do.
sure that I get everything right.
Wow, you're really prepared.
Hey, it's really great to be prepared and have everything together. So I just want to let everybody know that Charles is one of the founding directors of the Catskill Film International Festival. He is the president of the successful Hudson Valley International Film Festival.
Yes.
That's me.
Award-winning film director, filmmaker, movie director, writer, producer, and to top it all
Actor.
off,
Wow. All of
an
them.
actor too.
Yes, I am.
Well,
Are you sure I'm really here right now?
You could be a figment of my imagination if you're that good of an actor.
You never know.
I mean, you just never know.
Right.
So we've got so many questions for him.
Yes.
And also, I would like to let everyone know that Sean here also is a movie director.
Yes, I am.
Uh-huh.
Writer,
And a
director,
ri-
and
writer,
very much an
director.
actor.
Director, producer, actor.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I've seen both of you in your films, and it was exciting. And especially to sit back there and to say that I know you all these years. And I really feel that in the future, I think you're going to go much further than what we're doing now locally. I could really see you going into a Hollywood movie, and I'm not just saying it.
Yeah.
I've been in this business 27 years, and I could more or less predict. And with what I've seen you do, I know you'll go much, much further.
Thank you. That means a lot.
No, and
really
I don't know if you are aware of this. Our show is usually a jumping off point for, we do a lot of musicians that are just starting out. Like Hoboken is for international films and for independent films and that kind of thing. That's what we do here, but for musicians. So while we're not a big awards show, for them it's an award because they get to take home the copy of their session with us and they can show it to anybody.
Yes, that's right.
Not
Well,
that you guys need to do that.
Well, film is the collaboration of all the arts. I mean, a lot of musicians we've
Yes.
reached out to for our own films. Everyone from makeup artists to wardrobe artists.
Yeah.
So there's so many different arts that go into making a film. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel you there.
That's true. There really is.
Well, you took me across the line from what I was on TV and from singing and put me into films, something that I never thought I'd be doing, because I just want to share something with you and with the viewers here. I never really wanted to do a film because back in the early millennium, I had an agent who put me in a film where I was not really trained on it down in New York City, and it was such a long day. and with changes and all that, I actually got stranded in the city that night, and I never really saw the film, and it was just such a horrible experience. I stayed away from films all the way from 2002 all the way till I met you in 2014.
Well,
Wow, it's miraculous.
Congratulations, you got him back into the film thing. Well,
Where were you stranded? Where in New York?
where were you?
When I did the first film, it was in New York City, in Manhattan, a film called Nowhere to Go But Up with Jennifer Tilly. I mean, it was a wonderful experience because even though I had a non-speaking part, it was still a solo part. They gave me a wonderful part. I mean, it was beautiful, but just the idea, I'm used to doing a TV show, coming in here, getting done in an hour, and that's it. So it's very hard going from TV into films. Plus, I also at that time was into commercials. That may take about 4 hours, but it was very hard to transition from those things into films that could take 16-hour days.
No. Well, before we get into, I really want to hear about your award. But while he's talking about this stuff, what can you think of as one of your longest days of trying to actually shoot a scene and get it right?
I mean, I've had a few really long shoots, but back in the Savior days, 2015, we filmed. We had a shoot that was over 24 hours long.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, so like a
Where was
lot of actors. It was during a blizzard. We were actually filming in the Villa Roma, out in
Oh.
Calicut, New York, and people were stuck there. We had the whole place basically rented for a week
Right.
during their off season,
Yes.
and it was the climax of the movie. It was actually the final scene of the movie, and put it this way, it was a very long day.
I guess it really would have been. Sean, have you ever gotten stuck with that kind of a long day like that?
Yeah, not 24 hours, but about
Wow.
18.
18 hours.
Absolutely.
And of course, your actors and actresses and even your extras, they just kind of have to hang around till you're done.
Yeah, I mean, most filmmakers, people involved in film, they understand that. I mean, the minimum is normally like a 16-hour day. Like it's
Right.
guaranteed most times on set.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I try to get people out in 8-hour days. That's like what I try to schedule. But because a lot of people that are working on my sets are volunteers, so
Yes.
you know, 8 hours is like a good crunch. But 24 hours, no one's really prepared for that. But everyone was a good sport about it and did what they had to do.
Oh, that's great. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your recent win at the Hoboken Film Festival? Phil and I were there. We're cheering you on.
Let me
It was-
tell you
we
something.
were
I had
great. It
no
was
idea.
great.
I had no idea. Like, first of all, there was a lot of stars in attendance. You had Martin Cove. You had who else was there?
Martin Cove was there.
Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yes,
yeah,
the
what,
governor.
Daniello.
Yes.
You know, you had these celebrities in attendance, and first things first, I get nominated for a short film for Best Pilot, A Modern Myth, earlier in the night, which I couldn't even believe. It was a film that I didn't really realize. I had it, you know, in my archives, but I never really did anything with it. So I'm like, you know what? This is good enough to like submit. So I submitted it to Hoboken. What do you know? We get nominated for it.
Wow.
And then my partner with the Catskill International Film Festival, Anthony Gagliardo, who's also one of the leading people in A Line Between All Things here behind
Right.
me, he gets nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Yes.
Oh, that's
And in the
right.
same
Yeah,
category
yeah.
is Danny Aiello and Burt Young.
Yes.
Celebrities, these like legendary, you know,
Right.
stars. You know, he didn't win the award, but just for him to be in that category, to me, is a win in itself, you know, with these guys. And then the night's almost over. You know, I'm already itching to get out the door because I'm like,
Right.
you know, this is like going on 4 hours now.
It was long.
And then they call my film nominated for Best of Festival Audience Choice. And then right after me, Sean Murray here, his directorial debut, Interment, gets nominated for Audience Choice, Best of Festival
Right.
audience. It's just like, it was such a mind-blowing experience. Just
Yes.
like, no matter which way it turned, as long as we were both nominated there, it was great. And then we found out I won, which he's also a part of this production, so it's kind of like a win-win.
Wow. Okay.
You know, it wasn't like one way or another, but this trophy right here, guys, was
There
for
we go.
Look at this,
everybody
folks.
involved.
Yes, absolutely.
A first on the Mr. Phil show.
Matter of fact, I'm going to put it right here so everybody can
A first on the Mr. Phil
get a
show
good
tonight.
glimpse of that.
History is being made on this show tonight.
Yes.
It was almost like a full circle, because a bunch of years ago when I filmed The Factory, that was my directorial debut, I was nominated for Best of Festival Audience Choice. We didn't come home with the trophy. And close to 5 years later, here you go.
Right.
We
wow.
finally got what we rightfully deserved. But yeah, it was
But
exciting.
Yeah. You know, it's got to be exciting, especially because it only took 5 years. You know, which
Yes.
to me it seems like that's really fast. There's people that have been doing films for so many years. It takes them 20 years to get noticed, and you did it in 5 years, which was I think that's
Right.
that's outstanding.
I mean, we've Mary and I have been to New York City, and we used to go to this event, LTC. Remember, a network, a big networking event, and we met hundreds of filmmakers over there, and they just couldn't do anything
No,
in New York
not
City.
really. Right? They didn't have. I think what Charles and what Sean have, and that's that personality to pull you through and pull you into a movie. I
Thank you.
really see that as the strengths that you guys have,
Right.
and I think you need that. I've done a lot of other things myself, and unless you have a good leader, well, the whole thing falls apart. So, you know, now the line before all things, it was a beautiful but heartbreaking experience, and there was such a lot of buzz about the film as it premiered, and it's really amazing. The film brings these characters to dark places, and I want to know, what was your inspiration to get to that?
Well, at the time of the inception of A Line Between All Things, personally, I felt like I was in a very dark place. I want to say my best friend and colleague of years, I felt had turned his back on me. I felt like I was alone in the world, nearly homeless, you know, depressed. And the character, Joel, that I wrote was kind of me. And he was searching for purpose. You know, he didn't trust anybody. He wanted to punish those who did him wrong, which he does in the film, which is Anthony's character.
Yes.
And I almost immediately, over a few weeks, I wrote the script, and I was so sick and tired of, you know, putting the movie out there, you know, for everyone to cast the movie, for it to fail, that I kind of like secretly reached out to actors like Sean and other people that I trusted to portray these roles. And everything seemed to come together.
Oh, that's
Right.
great. Now, how long ago did you finish this particular film?
We filmed this, what was it?
2017,
Okay.
We finished in 2017.
All right.
and these things take a while after they're finished to actually become movies that are readily available for you guys all to see. The editing process is usually much longer than the filming. But yeah, we finished that, I believe, in the springtime of 2017 it was.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you were in that one, weren't you?
I was in Irony of
Irony of
Catharus
Catharus.
and Crush.
Oh, that's right. And Crush. That's right. That's
Press
right.
also showed at Hoboken, and
Yes.
Irony of Catharsis.
Yes. I
Right.
s-
Yes.
Irony of Catharsis actually was nominated for Best Actress Janelle Tana
right.
at the Grove Film Festival.
Yeah, she's doing great, folks. I remember
Yeah.
when she was starting out. She, folks, we have a superstar. She's been on a cover of
Maxim.
different magazines. She's been around. I mean, to say that, she started right here with these folks, which is great.
Yeah, it's. I love to see the people that I've worked with
Yes.
do amazing things and branch out. It's like, and she's still a humble person.
Oh,
yes. We
yes.
still get to speak to her. I still speak to her regularly, and she's not as phony as a lot of these people. That
Right.
Wow.
Folks,
happen to
just
work with.
just look at us sitting here tonight. You have me and Mary, who start out people in the music business, and you have Charles and Sean that start out people in a film business, and from all of us, they are going places, becoming known, becoming stars. So this is a scene that's never been shown in 24 seasons on the Mr.
That's
Phil show
true.
that's happening tonight.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, now you're involved in another film festival you're putting together now?
Yeah. Last year, I got together with my partner Anthony Gagliardo,
Right.
who's the star of Align, and I've worked with him for many years. I had a previous festival, Hudson Valley, and I wanted to do something closer to home. I live in Sullivan County. I live in the
Yes.
Catskills, and I wanted to do a festival close to home. So that's when we came together and created the Catskill International Film Festival
Great.
that we hosted at the Callicoon Theater, the historical Callicoon Theater,
Wow.
and the Western Hotel, which is
Yes.
also very historical and haunted. But it was
Aha.
beautiful. I mean, it was such a old school Hollywood feel. We had a lot of attendees from all over the country,
Yes.
all over the world, films from all over the world. And with that said, we analyzed the festival afterwards and to see the things that worked, the things that didn't work, and things that we can do better for year two. So
Right.
we're in the planning stages now of year two. The dates are not announced yet because we're still waiting to lock down the dates, but it's probably going to be somewhere in late fall. It's going to be a different vibe since we normally have had these festivals in the summer. But
Right.
fall is a beautiful time to be sitting in the movies.
Yes.
Especially upstate.
Mm-hmm. With the
Especially
fall
upstate.
foliage,
Yeah.
it's going to be a different experience. So.
That'll be really nice.
Right.
Sean, do you have anything new in the works? I mean, we know that he's doing the film festival. Are you involved in the film festival, or you just have some new things in the works of your own?
Yeah, I have some new things in the works. Making a film over the summertime, and I'm working on another film with
Can
Charles
you
over the
talk a little
summertime.
louder, hon?
And that's gonna be my summer, as it stands,
Wow.
and as far as this stuff, and that's pretty much it. We got a couple projects, and that's a very busy summertime, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah. To add to what we were saying, we're trying to have another opening night film because one of the things that I like to do and what Ken, the head of Hoboken International Film Festival does, he has
Right.
his films as the opening night film. So
Yes.
Right.
I'm trying to put together an opening night film, Oath to Injustice, which is a crime drama. Two detectives at odds trying to find a serial killer. And the closer they get to catching the serial killer, the more morally ambiguous these characters become. They have to bend the rules of the law to catch this character. So Sean Murray, with his amazing talents, I couldn't see anybody better than to play the leading man of Detective Lindsay.
Well, congratulations on
Wow.
that.
Thank you.
And we've been doing rehearsals. I have a few other actors that have already been. We still have some of the roles available if anybody's interested.
I am.
We'll have to talk after this. But we have.
You didn't expect that. I know
Yeah.
you didn't. Just the look on your face was like,
But
well, how do I answer that?
it's the most ambitious movie that I've ever planned, and I think it's the most intense. So
Wow.
the practicing, the audition process, and everything that needs to go forth is going to be
Right.
complicated.
Do you know what you're looking for as far as a rating for the movie?
Well, these movies are all unrated and independent films. To get your film rated is extremely expensive.
It is.
Unrated, but if it's a movie by Charles, it's probably vicious. No, this is gonna be complete carnage and savagery. There's drama in it, but I feel like if you're gonna have a really uncut crime thriller, it has to like touch the grimiest of the grimy to
You gotta get
movies
real.
like Seven, the original Saw,
Yeah.
what do you see on NCIS? It's pretty sickening, but
Well, but you know what? That's real life for you.
mm-hmm.
Real life isn't pretty and wrapped up in a bow.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're doing, it's putting it there in people's faces, going, "This happens."
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, this film to me is very different from A Line Between All Things. Was kind of like a spiritual project. A lot of people that have seen the movie, like the promos and stuff, are action packed and kind of scary, but it's really a spiritual movie. The next movie is more of like a thriller.
Right.
Where can somebody? Is there anything that somebody can do to go ahead and see the film? Is it on any social media or any kind of
We're still submitting it to different film festivals, and we're hopefully working out a distribution deal so that the mass public can see this movie, hopefully on Netflix or Amazon or YouTube or wherever. But
That would be
we're trying to
great.
work out stuff now, and because I think the movie's worth it for people to see if anyone has seen it.
Yeah, I mean, they
Exciting.
hear us talking about it now, and they may say, "Hey, I need to check that out." So I think it's nice. And if when you do have an avenue that it comes out on, let us know, and we will announce it on the show.
Oh, yeah.
So that people
Thank you.
can do that. Sean, do you have anything that's coming out soon?
This summer, I'm going to push Interment further than I have. It premiered at the Hoboken Film Festival. That was just the beginning.
Right.
We put it out on DVD, so you can pick that up in some spots, and you can get us through us online to get it that way too. We're pushing that. We're filming a couple things, a few shorts, and also another film. It's a philosophical take, and it's inspired by. Let's say you're going to take Texas out and bring it over to New York. It's got to do with guns, God, and government, and it goes off in a bang in a big way.
Okay. And your stuff, you say you can find online?
Yes, if you contact us through either Facebook, Instagram,
So
Twitter
from-
tweets, or email, which will be at the end of this video, you can send me an email, and we have different options of getting it. We have DVDs, and we also are going to put it up on some places online in the future.
Oh, wow. Okay, so now if we put your guys' names in the computer and Google, and we Google you, what
Google
are we
me.
going to...
If you Google me,
What
you're
are we
gonna
gonna
find a
get?
lot about me. You never know.
Are we going to like what we see?
You never know. I mean,
Ah.
you can Google me. I've Googled myself, and I'm in the process. Independent filmmakers, they gotta work 9 to 5s most of the time.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I Googled myself because I was afraid of what possibly my employers might find about me.
That's
And
true.
they see me in a fur coat, shooting hookers and snorting coke off hookers' asses.
Right.
Okay.
But
Beating women, killing people,
Oh, my. Okay.
know.
All right, Sean. What about
urinating
you?
on people. pissing all over them.
What kind of dirt are we going to find on you if we Google you?
Probably a whole lot. I'm sure a whole lot. But as far as film-wise, you'll find a bunch of movies that I did and a few that never came to fruition. I've been doing this for about 6 years now, and I've done a bunch of stuff, and I've learned stuff along the way, which eventually led me to wanting to direct my own films as well as act.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I know that different promos that we've seen at the Hoboken Film Festival. I've
Right.
seen your face in a lot of different movies and a lot of different promos.
he is. Listen, I've
and
been
everything.
I've been directing
He does
movies
a
for
lot of
years,
work.
and I've never seen at Hoboken. He should win best promotion because I've been doing this for years directing, and he's got the posters, the cards, the teaser trailer.
Wow.
He really decked out and did all out. He had the the movie's all printed out and packaged. It's like a whole package deal. This guy's
He's not joking.
He's not joking.
just
He's
not
the
joking.
real
I've
deal.
seen-
But I got a couple questions because I was watching the movie and I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta get in this guy's head. You know,
Absolutely.
we've worked together
Right.
and
Many years.
for many years, but I know as a director we have a lot of chaotic moments or memorable moments when filming your directorial debut. What was your most memorable or chaotic moment in filming? us the
Most
dirt.
memorable moments were the laughs, really. It was a horror film that I did, but you wouldn't know it if you were on set. It was very, very laid back, and we all had a good time doing it. So when you go through the footage before it's cut, that's all documented there. It was a real fun experience. Most chaotic moment. Well, every once in a while you run into problems along the way. Sometimes they're technical, sometimes they're personal. The personnel that you keep. I dodged that bullet by 95% margin, which was pretty fantastic considering that this is the first film that I've ever done.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah. Yeah, most of the cast and crew I love, they're like my family by this point, and yeah, I can't really say. Can't thank them enough.
I got another couple. I got a couple
Yeah.
because I got this digging deep here.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get into it.
The concept I picked up from your film actually has quite a positive message. Regardless of the carnage and violence, the idea that life is both heaven and hell combined. In a way, I read this as to value your life because you never know when it's over. Don't wait for an afterlife that's not promised. Was that your intentions, or do you want the audience to make whatever intentions they may have?
Ultimately, it's up to the audience to decide, and I like to hear different versions of what people have gotten out of it. But my intention was, and the name itself is interment, and it is where we go because none of us are getting out of here alive. And it's a scary thought, but it's also a beautiful thought at the same time because it makes us place a good direction on what we're doing while we're here. And we should all strive for the best in life because we're not guaranteed when that's going to end at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was inspired further, and I'd like to give a shout out to Chelsea Lynn Samoila, who's no longer with us, but she was an actress who had died about half my age. She was 20, 21 at the time, and it felt kind of odd to know that, to be where I am. And, you know, twice her age and still doing this as my first film, it just kind of goes to show you that, you know, you got to stick to your path and do it, you know, no matter what your dream is at any age, and because we're not guaranteed anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. It does give you something to think about when you think, you know, okay, well, this person just started out. I just started out, and at my age, you know, this person at that young age, they lost.
Right.
They got lost, and they're not here to do what you're doing now at your age. And, you know, I'm sure it's got to feel very weird. It's got to feel very weird. I mean, I know my best friend had died 7 years ago, and we had planned on being grandmothers together and all that kind of stuff. So it's very strange and very surreal right now. I'm a grandmother, and she's in heaven,
Right.
or where anybody else is going to believe where people go. And, you know, we're not grandmothers together. I'm sure she's looking there and taking care of everything that she can. But it's very strange. The same age, and here she's got one thing going on, I have another going on. So with that, do you get a lot of older actors? Do you find a lot of older people now going into acting as well as young people? I know it was a young people's thing for a long time.
I'm going to speak from honesty. I feel like when I first began this a few years ago, a lot of the people that I was getting were like fresh out of high school, and they had their dreams and aspirations ready to explode.
Yes.
And then as the years went on, these same people they kind of like, they got beaten down by society and people telling them that you better think of a more realistic path. And they start dropping like flies. So like a lot of the people that I originally started working with, the young ones, have like moved on, and they're like, corporate people now, or
Yes.
They moved away from acting.
Yes.
But later in life, and a lot of the actors that I've come to terms with and met, years later, they end up coming back to what they originally thought wasn't possible, and some of them now are making movies.
Wow.
All over the place, getting paid to do movies, doing commercials, music videos. That is like their second coming, their second chance that they left when they were in their early 20s.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of, it's crazy when you think about it. But well, the same thing happened to me. I've done a lot of little projects and that kind of thing, and I didn't really start with a show business career with Phil and doing the stuff I'm doing till I was over 50.
Yes.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. And the thing is, I feel at this age, this is the time to do it, because now I know what I want out of life. And my mind isn't going to change so radically, so quickly.
I find it pretty easy to gauge the intent behind the person myself, and I think that there's different people that are in this field. I find some of them to be more ambitious than they are talented. I find that certain people, only want to do things for maybe fame or hookers and coke. But, it's it's pretty simple for me to see the people that actually are real about it, and actually do care, and actually do put the efforts involved into the process.
Right.
They stand out, to me, quite simple. And I don't always get along with these people. Half the time I don't. Half the time they have their own thing going for them, but that's the energies that they bring to them. They're doing a good job doing it when they're out there with that craft. The people that do not, the people that hang on to something, star suckers, and they're just there for some kind of popularity contest. They're easy to spot,
Yes.
and you want to kind of get rid of them. You cut them out as soon as you can, because it can be problematic. I've seen that happen many, many times throughout, the years that I've been doing this.
Yeah, and I can understand. I've seen a lot of people that they want to get in because, like you said, they want to be famous. They want their face all over the place.
It's a ridiculous
know.
concept. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yes.
Because
It's
independent film, if you're an independent artist, you're putting everything on the line. You're taking your own money, your own time. This is your free time. And the people you get involved, if they don't have the equal passionate view, you're kind of like, you're not working towards the same goal.
Right.
right.
And I could tell you firsthand, I've taken out credit cards to make movies. I've borrowed money. I've taken out loans. I've done anything you can possibly done to feed the cast and crew.
right.
It's a complicated experience, but if it's worth it to you, then you've never wasted any of your own time.
Just like recently, Mary's a witness to this. I went to a networking event in New York City. This woman was like bi-coastal, Hollywood and New York, and she'd been away for a while. And I've told her all I'm doing, and instead of saying something nice, she says, "So you're still doing all this stuff for free? It's just a hobby. It's not a career of yours. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, what you're doing and all that." And
Yeah.
she really, told me off.
Screw them. Because let me tell you something.
That's
What
right.
you just said is what I hear from all the people who say that they're legit.
right.
And I hear that all the time. Actors, you're not a real actor if you volunteer your time. You're not a real cinematographer if you volunteer your time, I hear. It's nonsense.
Right.
If you have a passion, you read a script that you really think is worth it,
right.
and you want to give your all to something, why can't you? It's a hobby, whatever, but there's people out there that, will post up gigs online to get people involved, and we'll say like, you know, non-paid, non-union, whatever like that,
Right.
and you get ripped to smithereens by all these people who are like, you know, the upper class, but all these people that, you know, have these extreme rates that have never worked a gig in the last 10 years.
Right.
So,
Right, right. And just because they want to get paid,
you know,
they
it's
don't get
understandable.
paid,
It's
they don't wanna-
understandable if you can't work for free, but I see a lot of people who can't work for free who choose to put the other ones down. Now I feel like there's plenty of productions out there that are paying for the guy who's starting, and the guy who doesn't have money, who just wants to have his story told. There's plenty of actors out there who are looking to have a reel made, and there's plenty of crew out there that want to gain experience.
Right.
So instead of, you know, jumping on the bandwagon and bashing this crew, let those people, you know, get something out of the process. I feel like a lot of the actors I work with have gotten something out of the process.
Yeah.
Many of them have walked away nominated. Many
Yes.
of them have walked away winners in the past. You know, not to toot my own horn, but you're getting something out of the deal. It's a give and a take.
It's true.
That's right.
That's true. It's almost like saying that a kid that's playing Little League, it's just nothing. And one day it may turn into him being in the major leagues. But you're not going to get to the major leagues if you don't start at the bottom.
And this necessarily isn't the bottom. A lot of
Not
these
the bottom.
Right.
a lot of these
Right.
independent films,
Yes.
you know, I'm not going to name, you know, the distribution company, but
Right.
some of these distributors, they're major. They could pick up this movie and it could overnight be catapulted. You never know.
Yeah.
But you as an actor or you as a crew, you have a choice to pick and choose your projects. And if
Yes.
this is something worth your time, you can say yes or no to it.
Right.
Right,
Just like
right.
what we do over here for the last 24 years. I explained to people that, yes, we're public access, but the advantage we're getting is no money in both directions. We don't get paid, and we don't have to pay for it. So if we were doing a commercial show, we would have to get sponsors and,
Yeah.
you know, get and pay for our airtime. So it's easier this way.
And you're doing a great justice. There's a lot of independent artists like us that find what you guys are doing as noble, heroic. You know, you guys are, when we held mixers for many years in Middletown and throughout, you know, the Hudson Valley.
Right.
So many of these, like, you know, marketers or whatever we would bump into that would attend our events to try to, like, make them some sort of, like, paid event where you had to buy alcohol and do all this other types of stuff, which is fine and dandy.
Yeah.
But we wanted it to be a networking event for
Right.
all artists and business people alike, so that,
Right.
you know, we're a filmmaker and you're a business that's open to filmmakers to film there. That's a
Right.
great connection.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what we were looking to
Absolutely.
do for all those years. So I get what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Right, we've been with you. You know, we've been with you all these years. You know, to all these mixes and stuff. You know, so when first I was there alone, then Mary came on board and she joined.
Yeah, so it's a very vital part of, I think, getting people together. If you don't have the mixers and you don't bring the people together, then where are you going to meet them? Where are you going to meet them?
It's like weird. It's like dating when you don't want to date your coworkers and you don't want to
Right.
date your people in school. You kind of have to like go online and like meet new people. This is like an opportunity for you not to be that creep at work. Like, hey, buddy, or your friends. Like, how many of our friends really like to make movies? Not many of mine.
No, no, no.
They're
no.
just, you know, you sit back, drink, watch the
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Yeah,
This
you know,
isn't making move like you meet a whole new group of people
yes.
when you get involved. And these are the people that you have more like-minded with. You could bounce ideas.
Yeah.
I call
Sure.
Sean, complain about bullshit that I'm going through with the films, and you know he says the same with me. But we have like a like interest, and that connection would have never happened had these films never started.
Right.
Absolutely.
You do a beautiful job.
That's
yeah.
true. That's true. Yeah. I mean, getting together and having your mixers, like you know, you're bringing those like-minded people together. It's not like a dating service saying, oh, everybody likes to ride horses. Let's all get together.
I would never ride a horse.
Yeah. Well,
I absolutely would.
yeah.
But you know, I mean, this is great because you've got a lot of people there. They're walking around. We've gone to a couple where they had, you know, you put your sign on your chest.
And a lot of those are
what you
gimmicks
do.
too. I don't want to name
Yeah.
names, but I'm gonna do it because we're on TV.
There you go.
I'm gonna do it because we're on TV.
Do it.
Most of those mixers you go to in the Hudson Valley that they put those little tags, they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to sell you membership fees. And guess what they do for you with those membership fees? Nothing.
Nothing.
Right.
We held an international film festival, one of the biggest. And guess what they didn't do? They didn't support us.
Ah.
We're a film festival. I did 4 feature films, multiple commercials. A lot of it was free. Guess how many of those people that did those mixers that were trying to do membership packages did for us? Nothing. They didn't show up at the events. They didn't post us on their Facebook pages, on their websites. They do
Right.
it for a fee.
I was
Yeah.
gonna
So
they're
say,
getting
they
all you
didn't
guys
get
together
paid, yeah.
To pay for a little spot on their website. Say, look, Mr. Phil's here. But the truth is, you got to find the people that are genuine,
Right.
that want your best interest. Like, this is a mutual binding here, mutual interest. You help me, I help you, but there it's a one-sided thing. You go over there and you watch them speak at you, but you don't get to mingle. So
Yeah.
that's my rant, one of the many maybe to come.
Right.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that there are a lot of small things like that that get on your nerves, and this is the place to do it. This is the place to rant.
I
Because
thought that something
people
like
need
that,
to
an
hear
office like
that.
that would promote independent artists, but it's really they're only looking for the HBOs and the Showtimes.
Right.
They're not looking
But
for
you've
the
gotta
independent
start
Sean Murrays
somewhere.
and the Charleses. They're not looking for that. They're looking for are you coming here with catering services and multi-million? You renting out sound stages? Then they want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth of the matter is how many people are involved with those productions. There's so many independent productions. Most of the movies at Hoboken were the little guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They were the guy with great stories and great concepts, bringing it to the big screen.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of them were very poignant, personal stories that people wouldn't expect to see.
I think that at the independent level, the truth of the story is a lot of a higher rate than if it's a commercial film. These films aren't made to, they're made to be as good as they can be. They're made to be as a hit. But we're working with very limited resources, to say the least. So the emphasis is on the story. I find the storylines to independent films to be much better than the commercial.
I agree 100%.
Right, right. Well, I mean, with an independent film, I think that it's the story is much more important than the car crashes and the blow-ups and the pyrotechnics and all that kind of stuff. Like you say, that kind of stuff takes money. But what you guys are doing when you're having people acting in your shows, they've got to put it all out there because they are the pyrotechnics. They are the ones that are bringing the action to the screen.
The thing I want to, really emphasize to artists, other filmmakers, is, take, constructive criticism, yet take it with a grain of salt. Because for years, I was guided by specific people, like the know-it-alls of the industry, people that, told me what they believed was right, when realistically it was just their opinion. When it comes to your concept and your idea, someone's saying that that's not good. Who's to say it's not good?
Right.
There's certain technical things that are right and wrong, but I feel like a lot of independent artists need to believe in themselves and be fearless in getting their story told.
Right.
And you'll learn through your trials and tribulations, other than listening to.
Is art, it should be dangerous. If it's not, then it's just dribble, and that's the bottom line. And I don't care what level that is, either commercial or independent, is doing what we do. The one thing that I do, and I would like to stress, is to any independent filmmaker, is that you should do what you want to do, what's in your heart to do, by the best measure that you can. and embrace the fact that it is an independent feature. You have a lot of freedom that you will not have if you're under somebody else's pocketbook, so to say. That's when you're going to have to start to make concessions and and ultimately changes to your idea and the heart of your vision. So, when you're starting out, it can be the best phase of your career because you have no limitations but the ones that you put on yourself.
Oh, I think that's excellent. It's a great way of wrapping that kind of a thing up. Now, how do you feel with that? To kind of sum up what you feel about the independent arts and the independent films.
I feel like, well, as I was saying before, I believe just independent films are, they're uncensored, they're uncut. It's the filmmakers, the guy, creating the idea. This is what he needs to do. All the other influences, take them with a grain of salt, like I said before, because at the end of the day, the product that you get won't be the one that you intended. And that's happened in the past with me, with my previous works, and that will never happen again. This is like the first movie that I could say, beyond this and Crush, that was exactly the way I wanted it to turn out.
Right.
Wow. Now, how many movies do you think you might go through before you actually get that one that you say, that's the one?
Well, this one is the one. I'm just looking for a number 2 now. Line Between All Things is, I feel like it's a solid movie. It's a fun movie. We filmed throughout the Borscht Belt ruins and the Catskills, so it's
yes,
it's already in the history books.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, okay, so have you ever had anything, Sean, that once you were done with it, you said, oh my gosh, why did I waste my time doing that? Or were they like, yeah, okay, all right, this turned out the way I like?
Well, yeah, there's some things that I wish I didn't do throughout the years. None of it had to do with film. Even at my worst, then it was a mistake that led me to see better for the future. I don't have regrets as far as that goes. Yeah, there's parts where I flubbed or whatever, but thankfully there's other takes and they saved my ass. But no, I don't regret anything doing film because it's where I'm at. It's what I feel like I was put here to do.
Okay, any final thoughts?
I want to thank you both for allowing us on the Mr. Phil Show. There's so many more topics that I'd love to discuss in the future.
Yes, definitely.
I got a book in the works, Metamorphosis, my autobiography, a lot of inspiration, a lot to do with independent filmmaking.
We didn't get a chance to talk about that.
We can always save it for another time.
Absolutely.
But support independent artists. And it's more, if you don't have the money to give, support. A like, comment, share on Facebook or other means. Stop seeing and ignoring. This goes to everybody who does that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
okay.
we want to thank you for watching out there.
Yes.
And
I'm hoping that tonight's interviews were very informative for people, and that it really gave you an insight into what happens in the world of independent films.
So
thank you and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Buenos dias.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, aha,
what a wonderful world.
I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright, blessed day, and the dark, sacred night.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.